Ain't no sunshine when she's gone.
Hey class, how's it going? It's Mr. White back here for our second week of remote learning, and we are going to be discussing Texas during the Civil War Part 2 assignment, which is where we are going to analyze, look at the four major battles that occurred in Texas. Okay, there are more than four battles that occurred in Texas, but we're just going to talk about the four major ones. Okay, so the first one we have retaking Galveston, and notice it does say retaking. So Galveston was actually taken by the Union um, earlier in October, sorry, of 1862. Okay, and this was part of their blockade. Remember last week's assignment, you looked at um, what a blockade did. Okay, it's the Union's idea of making sure the South is struggling with supplies, and their economy is hurt because they can no longer get out all this large amount of cotton that they've been growing. So, because of this blockade, again, the Union will come in and they will capture Galveston Port. Okay, in October of '63. All right. Then this new general, John Magruder, the Confederate general, he is new, as I just mentioned. He will be hired, to take over another guy's spot. And he is very ambitious when he first receives his role, and he decides that it is very, very important that we take Galveston back. Okay, so he will gather a force and attempt to take it over. He also converted two river steamers, the Bayou and Neptune, into gunboats. Okay, and so these two ships were actually called um, cottonclads. So there is a ship at this time that the North has a lot more. The South does have them, but the North has many more, and these are called ironclads. Okay, and these are the first of their kind. These are ships built with metal, right? So you're shooting cannons into wood, right? A big metal ball lobbed into wood. It's going to do a lot of damage, okay? And ships sink very often if they are hit because of this, right? So someone came up with the idea, let's use metal for our ships, and the cannons will probably just bounce off, right? And for the most part, they did a really good job at that. Okay. Um, this became a huge issue for the South to deal with. They have metal boats. We cannot sink them very easily. So what they did is they turned, and these are called cottonclads for a reason. Okay, they actually took, and I'll make this bigger for you guys. This is a model of the bayou that we just mentioned. They took a steamer, like I said, it's a river steamer used to go up and down the river, right? And they lined the sides of it with cotton. Okay, that's why they're called cottonclads. All right, and they would actually, put shooters up here, and they would shoot at, people on boats or whatever they could do. Okay, so these two um, steamers, as well as the Confederates, will actually win the battle. Okay, they will force one Union ship to surrender, so they actually boarded the ship, sailed up close to it, and got off and boarded it. And another ship blew itself up. The captain and the crew burned and blew the ship up because they ran aground. Okay, so when a ship runs aground, they go into water that is too shallow for them, so they will actually um, be stuck essentially. Okay, and rather than having the Confederates be able to use this ship, and this is a strategy in warfare, they will blow it up. Okay, so if I can't have the ship, the enemy, you definitely can't have it. Okay, and that's a tactic, like I said, that's been used in warfare for a long time. Okay, So Galveston was captured by the Confederates, as I just mentioned, and would remain under Confederate control for the rest of the war. Okay, Galveston became one of the only ports available to all of the Confederacy. All right, so it was pretty essential in capturing this back, and so the general and his men against the odds, right, came out and recaptured Galveston. All right, now we're moving on to Sabine Pass. Okay, and Sabine Pass is located right here. There's a fort right there, and it's at the where the Sabine River dumps into the Gulf of Mexico. Right, we should know that the Sabine River separates us from Louisiana, right? We have the Red River up here and the Rio Grande down here, right? But the Sabine River separates us from Louisiana, all right? And where it dumps out into the Gulf of Mexico, um, that's an important position for the North because they want to get in there. And if they do capture that spot, see these railroads, they'll be able to use the railroads to come into the interior of Texas a lot easier, and they actually want to capture Houston and Beaumont, Texas. All right, down out here. All right, so where the Sabine River flows into the Gulf of Mexico, the Union troops, like I said, they're going to try to mount attacks into the interior of Texas. So on September 8th of 1863, the Union assault will begin. All right. After some fighting, the Union force does retreat. Okay. Um, with 4,000 soldiers and 4 gunboats, that's what the Union came with to try to take over this fort. And they were not successful. Okay. The Confederates will actually capture 350 Union soldiers, as I mentioned. Um, they damaged the gunboats pretty severely from the fort. All right, and Sabine Pass, again, like I said, Confederates won, so it will remain under Confederate control. All right, guys, now we have Brownsville. Okay, Brownsville is a key location for the South. Okay, it's down here, right? So November 6, 1863, it will be captured by the Union, and July 30th, 1864. It will be recaptured by the Confederates, actually with no battle at all. But Brownsville will be taken by the Union. All right, and why is it important? I just mentioned. Okay, you see here, right here in Mexico, this is Matamoros. Okay, Matamoros is key because they bring in supplies from Matamoros to Brownsville and get it all through Texas. So the Confederates got pretty smart, right? They knew that their ships could not beat this blockade of the Union, right? Their ships would be shot down, sunk, whatever it is, and the goods are not coming in and out, right? This is a problem. So what they do is they use Mexican ships, right? So they'll put their goods, mainly cotton, um, onto these Mexican ships and have the Mexican ships send them out into the world economy to be sold, right? And the Mexican ships will also bring back in supplies such as ammo, medicine, um, other war supplies that they could find. They would all bring it in to Matamoros and to through Brownsville and then disperse all throughout the South. Right? Now you're saying, Mr. White, why doesn't the Union just stop the Mexican ships, right? So this would create a problem if the Union started stopping Confederate Mexican ships and possibly, fighting them. That would possibly start a war with Mexico, right? And the United States, the North, the Union at this time, they're fighting the South. Okay, they do not want to add another enemy, right, to their list right now. Okay, if Mexico joined in with the Confederacy, uh, it's very possible that the Union would have lost, right? So the Union, although they understand that supplies are coming in through Mexico with Mexican ships, they're not going to essentially start a war with Mexico. Okay, so rather than do that, they decided if we take Brownsville, and I'll pull that map back up. if we take Brownsville, we can essentially stop those supplies from coming in and out. All right. So in November of 1863, the Union will capture the city of Brownsville, and they will continue all the way up the Rio Grande River. They will lose in Laredo and be pushed back, but they will hold Brownsville from November of 1863 all the way until July of 1864. And when the Confederates did recapture Brownsville, all of the Union had actually left Brownsville, so they were no longer there. So the Confederates just marched in and recaptured the city. All right. And last but certainly not least, we have the Battle of, and I'm not sure if it's Palmito or Palmito Ranch. This is the last battle of the Civil War. Okay. So in April 9th of 1865, Robert E. Lee surrenders to Ulysses S. Grant, which is the Union general, right? This is a Southern general, Robert E. Lee, and he surrenders to the Northern general at Appomattox Courthouse, which is in Appomattox, Virginia. Okay, and I'm going to go on a little side story real quick that I think is just incredibly interesting. Okay, so the first battle of the Civil War, major battle, I should say, is the first Battle of Bull Run, okay, which is outside of Manassas, Virginia. Okay, this gentleman, Wilmer McLean, owns the property where the first Battle of Bull Run was fought in 1861. Okay, that one that was near Manassas, Virginia. Okay, so the first major battle is fought in on this man's land. Okay. He was worried about the war. He didn't want his land to be destroyed. You know, he didn't want to be a casualty to this war. So he actually ended up moving. Okay, so he moves from Manassas, Virginia to Appomattox, Virginia. Okay, again, to escape the war, right? The crazy part is, in 1865, when Robert E. Lee surrenders to Grant, it is actually in Mr. McLean's house where they signed the treaty, the surrender deal, right? So this man, the first major battle of the Civil War, was on his property. He decided, I don't want to be a part of the war, so he moves to Appomattox, Virginia, and the surrender deal is signed at his house in Appomattox. Okay, I just think that's a super cool story that I wanted to share with you guys. All right, so despite Robert E. Lee surrendering in April 9th of 1865, um, a General Edmund Kirby Smith, declares that he is going to keep fighting. He does not believe the South has lost. He's going to keep fighting for what he thinks is right. Okay, so this battle is fought in Palmito Ranch. All right, right there. Okay, not too far. And if May 12th through the 13th. So they actually meet on May 12th in a little skirmish, and then they all north and south they withdraw for a second to grab more reinforcements. All right, and when reinforcements show up on the 13th, they are going to have an actual battle. Okay, so when the battle is fought at Palmito Ranch, it was a stalemate until the Confederate cavalry arrived. All right, and again, if you don't remember what the cavalry is, it is basically the people that ride horses. Okay, they ride horses into the battle. All right. So the Confederates actually forced the Union to retreat and capture 100 Union soldiers. All right. So the Southern generals, a few days later, they're gonna, tell Smith he needs to quit fighting, and he does comply. So this makes Palmito Ranch the last battle of the Civil War, and coincidentally, it is a Confederate victory. All right. So the last battle of the Civil War was won by the side that lost the Civil War. All right, so I just think that's pretty interesting too. Okay, so for this week, this is what your assignment looks like. Okay, everything that I just explained, I broke down all of this reading for you. Okay, in that little PowerPoint, try to make it simple, more simple, sorry, for you guys, uh, and break everything down. So what you'll do this week, you will answer this question right here. So you'll read this quote, all right, which talks about the problems with the blockade. And so you get to explain the quote in your own words and then draw a conclusion below. So in your own words, tell me what this quote is saying, right? And then draw a conclusion about one way Texas was impacted in the Civil War, all right, from this quote. Okay, then you'll read all this over the battles. Okay, and then you will get down here. Okay, you need to answer the who, what, when, where, why of these battles. Okay, essentially, just summarize the battle. Okay, try to tell me what you learned about the battle. Okay, possibly who won, the date, um, if there is one mentioned in the readings, and just what happened. Why was it fought, possibly, right? Um, I just want to know after you complete this that you learned a little bit. You understand what's going on. Okay. Then, if you have scissors, I would like you to cut these out and you're going to glue them to this map. Okay. This map, I want you to make, look nice. Okay. Decorate it a little bit, add some color. Uh, it's left blank for you guys for a reason. Okay. So make it look nice, please. Spend a little time on it. All right, and each of these battles needs to have a symbol, okay? Just like Nike has the check, Adidas has the three stripes, okay? I want you to find a symbol or an icon that you think will best apply to these battles. I will give you one if you would like, and you don't have to use this, okay? Palmito Ranch, the cavalry was so important in this battle, right? Maybe put a horse on there, right, to stand for the cavalry. So just something you could use, right? Try to come up with something for Brownsville, Galveston, and Sabine Pass. Okay. Just do your best, guys. I want to know that you're putting in effort when I see this, and that you're trying your hardest, putting in effort. This is weird. This is a weird situation for all of us, including myself, you guys, parents, guardians, whoever, right? So just do your best, guys, and if it's not satisfactory, I will, try to contact you and let you know. All right. Thanks, guys, for watching. I hope this helped out tremendously. Um, if you need anything, please do not hesitate to email me. Again, it's right here highlighted. awhite@new-waverly.k12.tx.us. All right, and you can join my reminds. The class code is 446764. All right, and you can. That's if you have the app on your smartphone. If you have a regular, don't have a smartphone, you can message 81010 with the message, okay, the @sign, and then 446764. It'll sign you up for my class, for my remind. All right. Again, thanks guys for watching. Hope this helped out. Y'all have a wonderful evening.